Today was very much a rest day. And in hindsight, I really enjoyed it. It was nice to get in and go through some motions, just to feel out my body, really, feel out where we're at. After this week of work, I'll be going and looking over my logbook tonight just to get an idea of like what kind of volume and what kind of level of intensity I got in this week to give me an idea of how I should attack next week. But yeah, I mean, I felt good. I warmed up. Well, I guess you could call it a warm up. It wasn't that relative to the main bulk of the work, but I warmed up with the split squat, which felt nice today. I woke up this morning. That's the one thing that I remember very vividly, actually, about the time I spent doing these split squats a lot. You wake up the next morning with no tension in your body. It's insane. It's crazy. It's a weird experience. Your hips feel loose. Like you wake up, you stretch out, you feel a little bit stiff. But for whatever reason, whenever I've integrated the split squat into my routine, I remember speaking to one of my coaches about it, one of my BJJ coaches about it. Honestly, it's the most amazing thing. You wake up, there's no tightness anywhere. Lower back, hips, quads, glutes, anywhere. Like you're just open everywhere. And this morning I had that, so I knew, okay, cool. I know exactly what I'm doing for my lower body today, knowing that I wanted to focus a lot more on. I was just coming in to do pull-ups today. Again, it's a Sunday, and I tend to. I go to the gym with the missus on a Sunday, actually, so it's always a slightly less focused day, and it's always very much a deloading day. I never really load my spine on a Sunday, and I never pull that much weight off the ground. It always tends to be just, like I said, just movement stuff, just going through the motions, getting a feel for where my body's at in preparation for next week. So I warmed up with just some bodyweight split squats. They felt kind of stiff, funnily enough, because I'm a bit fatigued from yesterday's session. So I felt a bit stiff with no load. But then as soon as I put the bar on, did a quick set of 10 on each leg, loosened up in that movement. And then just to cap it off, I just did a set of 20, which was nice. Felt a real burn in my quad. Felt like my hips really opened up after that. Not that I then went into a squat or anything to test that, but I just felt good. I felt good, and it's important to feel good after your training, man. It's important to not always feel like you've absolutely just mashed yourself up. And then I went into the one thing that I really cared about doing, because I hadn't done it now in, I feel like 4 days maybe. And it's a big part of my training at the moment, and that was weighted pull-ups. Because it had been a few days since I'd done them, I was anticipating to be able to pull a fair bit, but I was actually quite weak in the movement today, which was quite frustrating. I almost pulled 50 in my last weighted pull-up session. But today I didn't even bother loading 50 around the belt because I could barely pull 40. I don't even know if I got I definitely didn't get my chest to the bar. I'm not even sure if I got my chin over the bar. Because I remember saying to the missus, as soon as I loaded that 10 kilos for 3 reps, I was like, whoa, that feels heavy today, which is strange because last session, my 10, 20 and 30 kilo reps, they felt pretty easy. They felt pretty light. If I'm not mistaken, my last session, I got 3 reps in at 30 kilos as well. So I guess just as a whole, my body was very much in recovery mode today, which I have to accept, which is why I didn't do any more really after the weighted pull-ups. I wanted to get some weighted dips in, but like I said, vital signs were showing no siree, not today. So I took my foot off the gas. And I've wanted to squeeze in some, what I call like knee elevated or knee supported like RDLs. You'll see a clip or two of them in this, because I find that I can really target like the insertion of where your hamstring inserts into your glute. And that was where I had a really bad injury when I was younger. I tore my hamstring. It was like a 3rd-degree tear. It was literally just hanging on by a thread. It was almost needed surgery, but not quite. It really, I'm able to get a real mind-body connection in there with this movement. And I've wanted to squeeze it in the last couple of days, but just haven't managed to for whatever reason. So I wanted to essentially like prime the movement, see how my body felt in the movement, especially after a decent like unilateral leg session yesterday. And interestingly, my right leg was super fatigued. Like all the stabilizers in my right leg were not liking it, and I really struggled to connect to my hamstring in that movement. I did in the end in the second set, but when I first started the movement, I really struggled. Like I was feeling it in my glute med more than anything. And I use this, I know a lot of people, girls in particular, use this exercise to target their glutes. But for me personally, it's pure hamstring. I don't feel it in my glutes at all. Or the way I do it, I make sure I don't feel it in my glutes at all. I haven't actually tried to target my glutes with it. Anyway, I was really struggling with connecting to that, which was the whole reason for me doing it. I was doing it with significantly suboptimal weight. I just wanted to get a feel for the movement, and it's going to be interesting giving it a go tomorrow, because it's definitely on my to-do list tomorrow, no matter what happens. Because I didn't like that at all. Like I said, eventually I got the connection, but it took me a while and there was a lot of instability. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. But yeah, if you made it this far, again, thank you very much, and I shall see you tomorrow.